If you're wondering why I look exactly the same as I did in episode 31, well, it's because I had to record 2 in a row, and so we're doing that. So, welcome to episode 32. Do evil people exist? Interesting question. I'm Nick. This is 10 Minutes with Nick, and today we're going to discuss the topic of evil. For those of you who only listen to the audio, I don't know who that is. I just did the Dr. Evil pinky to the corner of my mouth thing because that makes me giggle like a child. Okay, enough of that. Why am I discussing the concept of evil? Because it's a difficult concept to understand and sort of wrap your head around. The essential concept of evil is someone, some creature or something that is clearly, inherently, always doing bad things, wicked things, for bad reasons. Right? This is not to say that evil actions, evil outcomes don't exist. Right? So, many evil actions have been performed in human history. Many. Going way back. The most famous in modern history, I would say the most famous, is probably the Holocaust. And that was, and look, internet, the Holocaust happened. It did. It was bad. It was incredibly bad. It was horrendous and generationally traumatizing and awful. And was it why the U.S. got into World War II? It was not. But was it an undeniable outcome that the Holocaust was broken up through World War II? It was, but we didn't get in to fight it, and that's going to forever scar humanity, is the fact that we, didn't get in it to fight against the Holocaust. But don't believe everything on the internet. The Holocaust happened. Don't pretend it didn't. Anyways, back to our not direct into the camera conversation. Evil outcomes have occurred throughout human history going way back. You could argue almost everything the Roman Empire did on a daily basis had an evil outcome. It's brutal conquering of territories. It's brutal put down of slave rebellions, the ownership of slaves, for a start. Excuse me. But why am I? But you might be sensing at this point that I'm pushing back on the concept that evil people exist. And I'm pushing back on that concept because you can't. It is hard to ascribe to someone the motive for their behavior. Because many bad things have been done with very good intentions. Take it on a smaller scale just to absorb it into your head for a moment. The white lie you told somebody to avoid hurting their feelings, right? Lying is wrong. You are feeding somebody an incorrect version of reality. You are distorting their perception of the facts. You are lying to them. And if this is somebody wearing a shirt, for example, that looks terrible on them, it is unflattering. They look like an ugly hippopotamus, and not the hippopotamus whose flows that glow like phosphorus popping off the top of his esophagus and rocking this metropolis. They look like a non-hippopotamus. And you say to them, because you don't want to hurt their feelings, because they're really excited about this shirt, you say to them, the shirt looks great. Let's go out and show it off on the town. You've temporarily spared the person's feelings, but you've also lied to them. You've specifically, and look, this is where the term sort of fits in. You're feeding them an incorrect version of the truth, not to intentionally manipulate them, but you are manipulating them. That is a gaslighty thing. And it is not a gaslighty thing in terms of you trying to get them to do something for you. You're trying to spare their feelings, but in order to spare their feelings, you think you have to manufacture their reality around them and feed them false facts. Now that's very low stakes, right? Like that's incredibly low stakes. Like your friend will go out and the most likely outcome of that in society is that somebody somewhere might laugh at the short. Okay, your friend will get over the embarrassment. But if you can do that to your friend, what do people on a larger scale do? Do we really think to ourselves that there are people in the world who wake up in the morning and say, how can I be an evil dick today? I don't think so. Now, you can certainly say that people, let's put it this way, right? Let's move to another area. Let's move to higher stakes. Let's move to a drug cartel. The individuals in that drug cartel operate the cartel as a business, but they also operate that business for a reason, to make money. Why are they making money? The accumulation of wealth very rarely has to do with simply, I want to accumulate wealth and power so that I can flex it. The flexing, they want to flex it, but the flexing is connected to something. Oftentimes, there's no legitimate business opportunities available. They started a drug business in order to feed their family. And once they started feeding their family, they never wanted their children to fear. Or they said to themselves, even if they don't have what you would think of as a morally good reason for doing what they're doing, it may not necessarily be an evil reason. Now, the outcome, understandably, is incredibly evil. Drug cartels go to war with each other. They smuggle guns. They hurt children. There's all sorts of things that happen from the decisions that are made. But the individuals inside of the cartel don't wake up every morning and say to themselves, what is my checklist of evil to do today? On the highest stakes that we just discussed, on the Holocaust. Hitler did wake up in the morning, I think, and based on the limited research I've done, I think Hitler did wake up in the morning and say, how do I purify the Aryan race? That is an evil action he wished to take. But the motive behind the action was likely not, I want to purify the Aryan race because I am a gigantic dickbag and I want to evilly twirl my weird little mustache. No. The motivation behind that was desire to control his reality. Fear. Fear is usually the reason. But being afraid is a universal human existence. But plenty of evil actions can simply be ascribed to somebody being fearful and covering up that fear by lashing out at the world around them, by trying to reshape the world around them to remove that fear. Put it in another situation that other people would understand as well. When do dogs bite? When do dogs get violent? Very, very, no, I'm going to say this for the people who, are afraid of pit bulls. Dog bites are rare. And not only are they rare, they are even rarer in certain breeds that you would expect them to be very, very quote-unquote vicious. A pit bull. How do you train a dog to fight? You train that dog to be essentially afraid. Afraid and desperate for love and approval. And when the dog is well and truly afraid, that is when it will lash out at the world around it. When you look around you and you say to yourself, wow, there's so many evil people in the world today. Pity them. Because the outcomes they are creating that you are calling evil, well, number one, they're evil and you still need to stop them, the outcomes. But you need to look at that person. You also need to say, it's so sad how somebody can be so afraid. I don't know if that made sense, but that was 10 minutes on evil. Small title. Evil is rooted in fear. I'm Nick. This was 10 Minutes with Nick. Have a nice day.